He handles mostly St. Pete, Tampa. Is that right?
Pinellas County.
Okay. So he's going to go ahead and go over go over some of their policies, and feel free to ask him any questions. He's taking the time out of his day. It's actually his 50th birthday this weekend, so I'd like to thank you for coming and taking your time and speaking to us. Thank you.
You don't look a day over 49.
Oh, my wife actually called my boss and got today off for me, and had friends come here from out of town I didn't know about, so it was a big surprise last night. I was like, I gotta go over to Tampa tomorrow. So you see what you guys rate.
So make it.
But I really appreciate the invite, and it's wonderful. You got a really great bunch of people here, it seems like, and it's just really good to be here. It's interesting. My first introduction to pressure washing, you know, as a typical homeowner borrowing a neighbor's pressure washing after going in the pool, you know, and getting this stuff done. And sometime later, I got a hold of a nice, powerful one. So it's like I was out there, I was like, oh man, this is cool. So it was a lot of fun. And for about 15 minutes, and I was like, this is work. It's like, I gotta hand it to you guys. This is a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be. So it's like, leave it to the professionals. Anyway, well, we're here today to speak a little bit. I'm Eric Furman with the Pinellas County Department of Environmental Management. I manage the NPDES program. And basically, it says down there, National Pollution Discharge Elimination System. And, these are federal rules, and when you say about the EPA, that's nationwide. So the rules come down, the stormwater rules to keep the water clean, and thanks. And they promulgate those down to the state and even to the local level. So depending on what you're doing. Now here in this area is broken down into two areas. You have some of the rules which are individual NPDES permits, those that go to the state. That's like people that have stationary sources. They might have a facility set up and somebody comes there to do work and they're treating the water. They have to have an individual permit. The second thing is NPDES permits for counties and cities. We have to have a permit too. And question?
Yeah, Eric, can they interrupt you, or do you want to wait till you're done with the
You
presentation?
can interrupt, yeah. If you have a question, if I bring something up.
What does that stand for, Eric? I would just like to know.
NPDES?
Yeah.
National Pollution Discharge Elimination System.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? And we have a permit too. Pinellas County has a permit, and we're in with most of the other cities in Pinellas County. St. Pete has their own permit, but Pinellas County has a permit, and we have to do certain things to be in compliance with the feds.
All right, thank you for coming.
You don't hear about the rest of it. That's our permit there, and it's basically says nothing that's not stormwater can go in our stormwater system. And there's some gray areas in there, things like for residential car washing and some clean pool water. And you can't put backwash down there, but basically it's rainwater, it only can go in. So anytime other things go down there, you're going to have possibly have an issue. This is what our ordinance says. It says nothing but clean stormwater can go down to the storm sewer system, and that includes the roadways. Our right-of-way is where our storm sewer system starts. So if it comes off a building, private property, and goes into our system, then it becomes our problem. We have to do something about it. We have authority to inspect the properties.
Eric, can I interrupt you?
Uh-huh.
You just keyed on something right there. It is not your problem until it comes off that property. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Yeah. So as long as it stays on the property, but then it's the state's problem. So
Right.
the state has another issue. But once it comes off into the county's right away, and now there's different issues. Like if you're in City of Treasure Island, it's the City of Treasure Island's problem. But crap flows uphill in this case. So if things are going down, it goes through their system and ends up in our system. We'll come out there and say, oh, this goes into Treasure Island. We're going to call Treasure Island and say, go look at it after these guys. So things do flow uphill in the NPDES world, and ultimately it's in the responsibility of whose jurisdiction it is. FDOT is a partner with us because they have so many FDOT roadways in Pinellas County. So there's a lot of mishmash of things, but you can always call me, bottom line, and I can get you to the right people or help you out, give you advice. We have authority for inspection. Yeah. We have authority for inspections, civil penalties up to $10,000 a day, and make you clean it up. We have an enforcement SOP, so we can't treat one guy different from another guy. We can't go out there and this guy does something and he gets caught and he gets a warning letter. He goes out and does something and he gets a $1,000 fine. So So there's a specific SOP, standard operating procedure for doing the enforcement actions. And a lot of times you're just going to have a warning letter, NOV.
Yeah, question on enforcement. I mean, how does it happen? Who enforces it? I mean, in one way, if this is all, we're all headed over to the green side, picking up and everything, it's going to have to be a lot more even playing field, because right now, I mean, I watch with a guy, we got a lot of commercial we do, but some guys say they pick up, some guys say they don't. I mean, help me understand. I mean, who's enforcing this? How are they doing it? Because, I mean, I'm not a whistleblower, but, if the state's saying do it, hey, everyone's got to do it. Let's everybody do it.
And it's not fair to you if you're
Right,
doing it
exactly.
and somebody else is not.
Right, because then it's a price issue too,
And a lot of that we don't go out and do a lot of search and destroy missions. We don't still have the personnel, and it's even worse now, of course, we'll have cutbacks and everything. But we mostly get complaints, and that's how we find out 99% of our stuff, somebody's complaining about it. And it's either a homeowner, a business owner, another contractor. Say, I'm doing it right. I paid the money to buy the good equipment, and he's just out there and letting stuff go everywhere. And, so he might call up and say, look, this guy's doing it the wrong way. And obviously we can't go out there and follow him around. We're not going to do that, but we will, once we get the notification, if something does come up, and we find out it's that person, then we're going to treat them, we have to follow the SOPs, but we're going to be looking a lot more careful. So, our enforcement actions, warning notices for homeowners. Mom and pop, the guy has down the street. Normally they're just going to get it's a little card, tells them what they did wrong, contact us. We give them some brochures, tell them how to do stuff right. Most of their stuff is they're mowing, blowing all the grass out in the street, or throwing leaves down the storm sewer. Can't do that. Clean up, put it in a bag. The grass clippings, I don't know, people don't use mulching mowers. I've gone to that. When I got rid of my bag on my grass thing, I was the happiest day of my life, not having to bag grass anymore. But it's good for the grass. So once people learn about that, some people still do it. They do what they're going to do, and then they will get fined. But most of the time, homeowners, once you tell them, it's like, oh, I didn't know, and they do it right after that. Notice of violation. That goes for most contractors, because contractors figure they're more up in the business, they know things better. And again, the notice of violation doesn't normally carry fines with it, but it's more official. We used to send warning notices that look like notice of violations to homeowners, and they freak out. Here you got an official letter with the county letterhead, and they're like, oh my gosh, what happened? So they get all worried. So we kind of backed off a little bit on the homeowner side, try to be a little friendly on their side, get an education in, versus the NOV, the business, they can handle it a little better. They're more apt to come to us and say, what do we need to do? What are we doing wrong? What do we need to do in the future? So they're usually a little better in terms of being able to handle that warning letter. They'll work with us. A homeowner will get an NOV the second time. If something really bad, you get a consent order. That's money. And it's happened. First time offense, they get fined. And that's using something really bad. You've had fish kills, plants dying, things like that. You're using really hazardous chemicals. It's not very frequent, but it does happen. And consent orders also happen the second time we catch you doing something. Once you've been told this is the right way to do it, and you keep doing it, then a fine will be issued. So that's the process.
Is there, in regards, is there any discrepancy as far as like, say for instance in a neighborhood where you've got a drainage culvert that goes into a dry ditch that, generally fills up when it gets really heavy with rain, but is that the same even if it goes off into a lake or something? Is there any discrepancy as far as where these storm drains?
There is in terms of how we handle if we do come upon it. Like I say, you can't just let the water run into our system untreated. So if you get it into a grassy area, and I'll show you some of these things